One unofficial series of mine is the Houdini to Blender series, where I see something made with Houdini and show how to recreate it with geometry nodes. This video won't be about recreating a Houdini effect, but instead, it will be about recreating something that was made with 3ds Max. Tokens? So before the mere mention of 3ds Max makes your bank account panic, let's get on with the tutorial. Add a plane. Then head over to the Geometry Nodes workspace and add a new node tree. Let's start by creating the mesh that will be used as the base. Add a curve circle. Set the resolution to 4 and the radius to 1.75. Then add a curve to mesh node and another curve circle. Set the curve circle resolution to 4 as well. Then connect it to the profile curve. Converting curves to meshes like this is one of the strengths of geometry nodes, because it allows you to easily manipulate the shape of the curve before the mesh is generated. And in this case, I want to manipulate the tilt of the curve before converting it to a mesh. Add a scene time node, a math node set to divide, another math node set to multiply, and a set curve tilt node. Adjusting the value of the set curve tilt node will affect at what angle along the curve the mesh is generated. So to animate this, connect the seconds output to the tilt input. To reverse the direction of the tilt, connect the multiply node and set the bottom value to -1. And finally, to adjust the speed of the changing tilt, add the divide node after the scene time node. I will use 4 as the division value, but you can use a smaller value to make the animation faster, or a larger value to make it go slower. To get a seamless loop at 60 frames per second, I need to set the end frame of the animation to 377. The calculation for getting the correct end frame is the FPS value times 2 times pi, if you're using the seconds value of the scene time node. Thanks to possibly Ferret in my Discord for this trick. With the base mesh created, let's go ahead and create these patterns. Looking at it, you can see that it essentially consists of some insets that has then been used to create a wireframe. So let's start by making the insets. Add an extrude mesh node and a scale elements node. Set the offset scale to 0.3 to limit the extrusion length. Then connect the top output to the selection input of the scale elements node. And finally, set the scale to 0.5 to scale the extruded face down to half its original size. The reason for why the scale elements node is only scaling the extruded face is because the top and side outputs of the extrude mesh node can be used to select either the top or the side faces of the extrusion. Next, we need to repeat the previous step to create insets on the new faces as well. Add another extrude mesh node and scale elements node, and connect them like before. Set the scale to 0.5. This time, however, set the offset scale to 0. That way the new face will be aligned with the face that the extrusion was made on. At this point, all that is left to do is to create a wireframe, but there is more than one way to do it. The simplest way is to just add a wireframe modifier to the object, and adjust the settings until you get the look that you like. However, you can also do something similar directly in geometry nodes. First, add an extrude mesh node, and set the offset scale to something small like 0.06. Then, add a delete geometry node set to face, and connect the top output of the extrude mesh node to the selection input. Now we are left with a wireframe with 0 thickness, but we can add thickness to it by again using extrusions. But first, add a merge by distance node to get rid of these overlapping faces. Add a join geometry node, a flip faces node, and an extrude mesh node, and connect them like this. Then set the offset scale to something small, like 0.015. This offset scale now controls the thickness of the wireframe. You might be wondering what the flip faces node is for. When you extrude with the extrude mesh node, the original face is deleted, or replaced with a new extruded face, whichever way you want to look at it. But we can still get access to it by joining it with the extruded mesh with the join geometry node. The problem then is that the normal of the original face is not facing inwards, since that's the normal of the original face, and in order for things like shading to work correctly, the face needs to be flipped with the flip faces node. Finally, to merge the two parts of the mesh together, add a merge by distance node. Another way to create a wireframe with geometry nodes is to use the curve to mesh approach. Add a delete geometry node and set it to face, and only faces. This leaves us with just the edges of the mesh. Add a mesh to curve node, followed by a curve to mesh node. Lastly, add a curve circle with a resolution of 4 and a radius of 0.02. Then connect it to the profile curve input. As you can see, there are several ways to go about creating a wireframe, so choose whichever you like the most. Now we just need to add two more nodes, a set material node and a set shade smooth node, with shade smooth disabled. In the Materials tab, add a new material. Then select the material in the drop-down of the Set Material node. If you want a similar composition to the original animation, add two area lights, positioned like this. And set the strength of the top one to 300. And the bottom one to 10. Then add a camera and position it above at a slight angle towards the bottom of the mesh. A focal length of 50 in the camera settings works fine, but I will set it to 80 to reduce the perspective distortion of the mesh. And lastly, to get a black background, set the strength of the world lighting to 0. And that's pretty much it. I hope you found this video helpful, and that you learned something new. See you next time.